Hi guys, it's Cheryl Montera and we're going to jump right in. I'm sorry I did not get to put this wig cap on camera and show you how I lined up the frontal with my ears, but I'm going to try to explain it as best as possible. Here I'm showing you where I actually drew the line and where the ear tab laid on my head. So I take my wig cap, put it on, I put the frontal on my head, on the top of my head, and I line it up with the top of my ears. And then I take a white pencil and then I draw a line where the frontal would actually lay on my head. Then I put the wig cap back on the mannequin, and I pin the frontal down on the wig cap, lining those white lines up. The front will be puckered up. Doing the frontal part is so much harder than anything else when you're doing a wig. Closures super easy, but frontals take a little bit of work and understanding when you're doing this. You're gonna mess it up the first couple times. I've done it, but once you do that, you pin it down, you sew all the way across, and a loop-de-loop method, or you can stitch it. A lot of different people do the stitching. I do not. You want to ensure that you do this right every time, because that's going to make this wig sit on your head right. Now I'm showing you where this cap is sewed down, and that's how it's going to look. And now you're going to take the frontal and flip it back, and then you're going to cut up under the frontal and cut the cap off. You don't want to get too close to the cap or to the stitching, because you will cut that thread and then you'll be disappointed because you got to start over on a new cap. And those caps are like $2.99, $1.99, $3.99. I don't want to spend no extra money. Now, this next clip right here is me taking my tracks and laying them across the back of my wig. I double weft sometimes I single weft. Just depends. I flip tracks over sometimes I don't. It depends all the time on what kind of style I'm going for and who I might be making a wig for as well. When you're making a wig, you can also sew a single track on the underside of your wig cap. So you will have to flip the wig cap over, sew a track down, and then flip it back over, and then continue sewing the rest of your tracks on, because that'll give you an illusion that hair is coming out of the nape of your neck if you want to put it in a ponytail. I don't do that all the time, even though I probably should. I wear ponytails all the time, but I don't care. I don't have time. I ain't got time to be flipping no tracks, flipping no wig caps over. Anyway, yeah, I pin my my tracks regardless. I don't have time to be holding no track while I'm trying to sew. I'm not that good. Some people are really good doing that. I'm not. I pin them to where I want them to lay, and then I continue to sew. That gives me more maneuverability. I don't know, but that's what I do. Other people do different things. As you watch this video, you're gonna watch more videos from me, and I'm gonna do different things, and I'm gonna explain those things. But you are welcome to do whatever tickles your fancy. Whatever makes you feel good, do it, girl. I'm just showing you what I do to make my wigs. Nothing special. I do not do a specific threading or stitching. Like I said, I do the loop-de-loop method, and I do it in a horseshoe. I do this horseshoe thing all the way to the top of the head. Depending on how I'm going to wear my hair, that's how I do it. It makes it look more neat. Only time I will do something and make it go straight is if I'm going to wear it in a ponytail all the time. But most of my wigs, I wear it down, and if I'm wearing a ponytail, it still works. I don't really care, how, if it's going to have a little bitty, lump or something. Most of the time, it looks good. I always make sure my wigs are nice and flat. When I get close to the top, which to me, the amount of space that you see right here, this is close to the top. When it starts to show past your ears, if you put this wig on your head and it's going past your ears, you want to cut your wefts, and you want to do single wefts, and you want to do them closer together so that you don't have any bulkiness and you don't have any lumps in your hair. You know, you want your hair to be as natural looking as possible. So you do single wefts when you get to the top, cut that track, and just sew. I also, when I do this, I do not cut my thread. That slows me down. I just keep going and I pin those tracks down and I continue to sew. And at the beginning of each track and at the end of each track, I will put a knot in it. I do not go through my width throughout the process of sewing. There will be a couple of times I'll go through the width. So I'll sew for a bit, go through the width, make a knot. Sew for a bit, go through the width, make a knot. So that I have more security because of the fact that I do the loop-de-loop method and it's not a actual stitching that I actually do. So this is what I do when I'm in a rush most of the time. It just depends. I change it up every time. It just depends on how I feel. So there are several different girls out there that do different things, but watch different videos and see what you like to do best. I continue to do this horseshoe look all the way up, all the way to the littlest bittiest horseshoe, and you will see how small this horseshoe is when I get to the top. I don't know if anybody's watching this has ever done a closed in sew in or where you close off. This was something we did back in the day, okay? I close my hair. It's like closing it off when you do the horseshoe that small. And to me, it makes more sense because once you comb this hair back, this frontal hair back, it's not going to show any tracks. There's not going to be any lumps. You'll see in a second when I actually do the demonstration of pulling the hair back, because I do that it's like, it reminds me of doing the beehive or when it's supposed to lay down and disguise how your tracks are laid, you know. But I'm going to show you guys right here. Now look at that. Girl, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me I didn't sew this down good. It might have looked rough in the beginning, but I did a good job, girl. Anyway, here I am plucking the hairline. This, my favorite word is a tedious task. Two favorite words, tedious task, favorite when it comes to making wigs. This right here is so tedious, but it's mandatory for me. Some people don't even do that. They don't even pluck their wigs. You better pluck it or you can be looking silly. I pluck my wigs going across the front of the hairline, not too much, but I don't want it to look blocky. I don't want it to look like it's an actual wig. So I pluck across my front of my hairline to make it look kind of jagged. Then I will part across the front in sections. I'm not neat about it. I just part any section I feel like needs some help. Part across a little bit, and then I pluck behind the hairline. Plucking behind the hairline will make it look even more like your hair, because your real hair does not go in a complete line across your head, and it's not super thick unless you're an Indian or a Hispanic. These people have thick hair. If you black and you wearing these wigs, girl, you better start plucking. Make sure your hair is right, because this will make you look like you got some good hair and it's coming out of your skin or your scalp. So I pluck the hairline. I do not pluck too much. Plucking too much, I've learned that if you pluck too much, you will have bald spots, and after a while the wigs will start to shed, and because you've plucked it, you have, you know, kind of broken the knots that are on there. And when you break those knots begin to shed the hair over time. Well, if that happens, then you screwed, and you don't want that. So pluck just enough, not too much. Over time, it's going to shed and it look even more like you want it to look. Here, I just put this wig on to see how it looks. See if my hairline looks good. See, you know, how the actual hair is laying. This is me just trying my wig on that I've constructed to see if it's doing what I need it to do. After I'm done brushing the hair, I take a flat iron and I knock some of the bulkiness out just so I can see what I'm working with. And then I take the wig off, put it on a mannequin, and I do the cutting process. Stay tuned for the next part of this series, and I'll see you guys then.